Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not breaking in, as I have every right to be here. The keys, see?
Boy, there are a lot of different keys there. More than 20 at least.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit too?
It feels flimsy in hand, with the words Revachol Zone of Control written under a nondescript municipal logo. There's a picture of her with shorter hair inside, along with all her personal details.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I need to be back in Midtown in an hour. I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed the place. It was some kind of a moribund old man who used to be a business owner. You'd think they'd make rent.
A sudden serious look crosses her face. This story didn't have a happy ending.
But that was months ago. Anyway, was there anything you wanted, or is that it? I'm in a hurry. Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. 3. We closed the apartment and planned on auctioning off the valuables, but... And again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. But Ron, when he came to close the door, didn't close the neighboring door. And there's a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall. Can you believe it? And then the tenant ran off with his stuff. He's gone. The money's gone. Just like that.
The sum must have been puny.
Don't ask me what happened with the wall. I have no idea how we're going to find the time or resources to fix it. Both apartments are now unrentable. Both. Of course.
The luxury of fine things. Just look at those black monk straps. After spending an entire day hustling, who's to say that you didn't deserve a pair of ridiculously expensive shoes on your tired feet? Beautiful things give you a rush. It's power. Crafting your style, draping your flesh in silk and leather. Remember, when they come to take it away from you, you worked for those shoes. Whether you like it or not, wearing these shoes has made you more liberal, ultra-liberal. They're either a gateway drug or a booster pack to get you deeper into free market ideology.
What now? Of course.
What happened here? It will still be accessible through the apartment next to it. That one didn't have a door. Sadly, nothing of great value remains here. Indeed.
Give me a moment. I see. I hope some good people are finally going to move in. This place needs them. Yes, well, I hope they're good people.
Your statements are too vague to comment on.
I'm no one, just an old woman who cleans these hallways. If you can call it living. I have a little room upstairs right next to the coal room. It's barely bigger than a closet, but I don't complain, no. I have my bed and my aching bones to keep me company, and that...
She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
Ask away, policeman. The hell am I supposed to know? Another nut job, I assume. Some lunatic lost his mind. All kinds of morons pass through these halls.
She mumbles some kind of a response. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says, number 11. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the... What are you doing? You're trying to cut the body of the lock with the chain cutters, and it's really not.
I believe it's the shackle you mean to cut, Detective. Perhaps you should give it another go.
The shackle snaps like a twig, and the lock falls.
After you, Detective.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads Kraz Mazov. Kraz Mazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a theoretical historian. He was a leading figure in the Grad side of the turn-of-the-century revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism, Mazovian thought, or Mazovianism.
The White Star, the photos on the wall, I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting. The white star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting.
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mazov and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal measure. To symbolize the toppling of the old, also some social democrats were already using it. The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world, and at the same time above it. Nothing at all yet. Right now, it's just meaningless shapes on a wall. Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. It towered over the harbor until it happened. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline. Fired from the water, a straight shot into Revachol. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The waves of the Martinez Inlet rolled over the fallen remains of the building. The dark waters obscured the better part of the remains. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. What wasn't used as scrap was thrown into the ocean. Those arches acted as support for something greater than what you see now. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers, a 5-nation army, hundreds of vessels. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Cannons still ready to placate Revachol. Coalition warship Archer can shoot 50 shells a minute on 20 co-aligned archers. They will reach the city in 58 seconds.
The coalition. But that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue de Espérance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. Ask away, pigman, but I don't promise to answer.
A brush? An artist? The red splatter is urban expressionism. That smell coming from her paint bucket, it's not paint, it's heavy fuel oil. Red-dyed heavy fuel oil is only used in government vehicles, or at least that's the idea.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself, back in Jamrock. You ain't seen nothing yet, piggy boo. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
She means the opposite.
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
The lieutenant is desperately searching for a handkerchief. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That Ozon whore. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Yes, we should go talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon. Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
The pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool, calm, and collected. As your hand enters the pocket, your fingers... Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. You should inspect it closer if you have time. Something about the wrapper's texture is familiar. By the way, the raw materials were most likely exported from Seaguy, the apricot suzerainty, and processed in sur-le-clay into the apricot-flavored chewing gum loved by kids of today and yesterday. Something about it is familiar, and not only to your fingers. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint up. Why, yes. Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry. Wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible. Within reason. Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes. A scythe of booze precedes you. Your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. you're too. Maybe you could ask her for some stock tips. That's a maybe. Or a job. But you're sure as hell too ashamed to ask for cash, buddy.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not?
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Okay, if you want to get technical. The point is, we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a type.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down. Have it your way.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her.
Good. This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
No, but please, a little context. We're not in such a hurry.
We have time for you to tell me why you need a reality lowdown.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective.
Are they now?
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then. Go ahead.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed. Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I would be happy to. What is a preposterously expensive education for, if not sharing? What I am not is a basic term of reality.
There may be a way to get her speaking about herself at some later juncture.
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. You're an ancient ruin, a symbol of hubris and decay, half submerged in some salty sea. Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah! This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off.
Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags. Ah, yes. There's something very satisfying about discussing the girl in the old lady rags. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. Young people who dye their hair funny colors and wear old people's clothes are stupid, and their little rebellion is self-defeating. All right, what next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabbled in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Those days are long behind me. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new, a cultural era, and the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else I can do? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
She must have been suspecting something for a while.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us. Of course, Detective. Take care.
can I help you? What thing? Yes, not the whole damn Union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on time.
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later.
You glance at the clock on the wall behind the manager. Huh.
Was there something else? Because I have coasters to... What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Absolutely out of the question.
Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger. Then we sing this play. Your body is ready, sire. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimpled lock. It's painted blue. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years since this was painted maybe. It leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The old building next to this, half ruined. Whatever, the door does not budge.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads?
The winch, outside, in the backyard. Remember? No, your fingers do.
Well, if there was a winch, I suppose we could look into it. As a side investigation.
It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
The door does not budge. A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garansi and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Goransi Quebec. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove.
Can I help you?
Hello again, sweetie.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot for the drinks and broken window, 70 real. A lot for the drinks and broken window. Like what? I was rarely enjoying talking about the money you owe me.
Life doesn't need to be a struggle. I'll be with you in a moment, officer. Let me just finish my sandwich. Talk to Angry Hog René first.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, all right?
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. That's the spirit. Don't even waste your breath asking about the game. They wouldn't know anyway. They're way past their prime. This felt wrong. Wrong like touching your sister's breast. You threw your sister's breast.
Mon Dieu! Good job, officer. That was an excellent throw. What are you talking about? You just executed a pretty much perfect pétanque throw.
How are you ever going to get the officer's shit off your nose, Gaston? Or even climb out of his ass? Right. Was the demonstration it? Or do you still need something from us, officer?
Yes, officer. What do we need from this gentleman?
Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement, but this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the union is the law, so can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
If I knew, I would not be afraid to tell you. I simply don't. I'm an old man, not a coward. The daily business of the riffraff no longer concerns me.
'Tis true, sire. He knows nothing.
Yes. The terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. Yes. It was left by heavy artillery fire. Why what? Because that's what happens when communards hijack your country. Execute your supreme leadership and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
This place is a damn beachhead, son. They didn't do it because they didn't like it. They had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they...
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
No, they don't. But I'm sorry it had to be the coalition. After 8 years of fighting rabid commies, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol. Or even if that damn clan Fouissel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage, and this is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and wrote the...
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making, from a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. What are you, deaf? They're perfect, like rock star politician and drug addict teacher. Embrace the superstardom you've worked so hard to establish. Yeah, a cool, trash superstar. Big dick cop down on his luck. Salam Rocky by here. Badass on the edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera, Lights. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on. Son, you've really let yourself go. It's a disgrace. But Coach Physical Instrument is going to get you back in prime condition, even if it takes 1,000,000 push-ups. It's going to take blood, sweat, piss, and tears. But when I'm done with you, boy, you will be a master athlete. When a man sets his mind and body on something and gives his 110%, he is sometimes going to piss himself. It just happens. No shame in that. Behold, world. Here walks a sportsman, hands choked and hair kept back with a bandana. The Homo Athleticus.
I have really outdone my...
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat ass of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week. But that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry. And I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
He means caviar socialists.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here.
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Evrard Claire. Everyone in Martinez knows the Claire brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. There he stands, proud, rigid and alone, like a cracking marble statue.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Everyone in Martinez knows.
What do you...
The old... There...
Let's try not to get caught in a...
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties. Help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh, yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
So that's what it was before. Him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union, and now the illusion is disintegrating before your and Rene's eyes. He doesn't know anything, because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavein. Turns the way the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate this socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence. Never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Everhart and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not really something I involve myself in, officer. Officer, I have a vivid imagination. And like I said, I have a way with words. That's enough. No need to sink into politics.
He just fluffs it up.
Of course. Don't sink into anything. Don't sink into any fight. Only sink into your couch.
I believe everyone has the right to think and do whatever they want. Even if it's nothing at all. I'm very adaptable.
Oh, mon Dieu.
No, thank you. For being consummate professionals. You'll have this case wrapped up in no time. I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food.
The only one you have.
The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder. Well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, you notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things. Fuck off! It's mine!
A glimmer of respect flashes in Rene's eyes.
Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
And it's gone.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? You're a special kind of vermin, Gaston.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I help the citizens?
A man so principled about his sandwich calls for a principled approach. Time to get political. This right here is political. Say one of these fascist or communist things or fuck off.
What? What oppressors?
I am not going to listen to this comic connery.
Huh? Yes, officer. I really don't understand how my sandwich could... I would rather just have this one, officer. It's really good.
Tell this lost comrade what the people's sandwich would be like. Distill the essence of the working man in a sandwich. The skepticism emanating from the merry senior could be sensed all the way to the Seminine Isles. He's not imagining it.
I don't hate worker food. Look, officer, I like different classic food. Fine dining, not worker bags. Please, just drop it.
you see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra serious.
I can see you've a taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
These once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere A small heat emboss on the veneer reads, Solidarity Aid from the People's Republic of Samara. The speakers themselves don't seem to display any magical qualities.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here. These, officer? These speakers are Samaran garbage. I'm ashamed to even use them for props. Don't waste your time on them.
Samaran trash? That sounds like they're from the Samaran People's Republic, produced under the dictatorship of the proletariat.
No way, officer! These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk. Well, if you want them... But see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, where will the sneakers go? I can't leave premium lifestyle sneakers on the ground. If, on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe throw in the speakers for little extra. 50 cents?
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers first. A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway, a jet black upper, and a silver-lined midsole. Dedicated, victorious, sporty, these found sneakers are a must-have for a track and field legend.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super air, super fine, super cool. Only 50 real.
Only? That's madness. Found Ultra. We're the future. You remember the slogan from some magazine? There are clothes inside. Cheap second.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco. Look around, officer. You see all these premium goods just sitting there, not getting bought? We've got to keep the flow of goods moving. Is this really the economy we want to leave to our children? That's good, officer. That's exactly what the economy wants.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places. The box smells like cat piss or like an old person with no money.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first hand, buy second hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek, a windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir. Gotta prepare for springtime, right?
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian night.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
This is what the loyalists looked like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Which ones? Ah, royalist soldiers from the time of the Revolution. The uniform.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say. There's also the matter of rewiring, but the most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary...
The boomboxes on the shelf look well loved. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Is the Harman Welshie W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. And here you are, quality sound reproduction. It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? Oh no, not at all. I guess I haven't had many customers lately, RCM or otherwise.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Okay, he definitely is high. Whatever it is, you've probably done it, and many other things besides. But you can't cut through the jumble of sensations to get to the answer. Looking at his wares, talking to him, that might give you more clues.
Of course. It's in working order still, isn't it? Just pick your tape and set it spinning. It all starts with the tape. Let me have a look. I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. No sale. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. That's all I know. Sell me something lighter.
You have absolutely no idea what aphotic paths are, but the tattoos on the man are not that.
Another time, perhaps. Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the Citizens Militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the Force. We have to find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything.
He's been by the shop a couple of times.
There was something awfully deliberate about that laziness.
He tried. Wanted to come to some mutually beneficial agreement around my dealings with the dock workers. I politely declined to hear him out.
So you don't know what kind of arrangements he was talking about?
As I said, I refused to talk to him. That's why he came back a second time. That's also why he hasn't come back a third. He purchased a remarkably garish paperweight the first time he was here. Nothing the second. They weren't the most pleasant interactions. Small-town bigwigs always want everyone to play a part in the play they're staging. But I bowed out at some point. I prefer to watch from afar while the bigwigs come and go.
He nods reluctantly. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Sure thing. Sure, man.
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you from across the canal. He seems disappointed about the wreckage on the waterlock and the salami.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer? I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins. Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft, nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the sea interrupts the silence of the situation. Nothing happens. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel them pinching your nose and chafing against your brow.
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practically made for you. I'll let you have them for 2 real and 50 cents.
They're perfect for concealing your bloodshot and baggy eyes. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take you seriously with these things on your face.
No, you are definitely not buying those.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you. You should think this through, officer.
Abort.
Damn!
They're perfect. It's...
No, you are
Abort.
Damn!
It's going...
No, you are
Are you sure? But they look so good on you.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic. The kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool, UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work.
No luck. All you find is this lime-colored cellophane visor, produced by a bargain sportswear brand called Amphibian, apparently. There's a malformed green frog.
Oh, that visor is perfect for you, officer.
Hey, at least it might actually offer some protection against the sun. Not like those cheap plastic shades.
I hope not.
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem. Let's get you some real shades.
Yes?
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands in the background.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Not before you get in there and get your ass whooped. Learn by failure, I always say.
He might have some advice, but you got to at least try to fight Measurehead first. Return if you fail.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bed.
We can sit on benches after we've solved them.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh. Not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Does anyone in a city like this? Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
A crinkled chewing gum wrapper. The worn label reads, Tutti Frutti. It smells faintly of apricots, with a barely noticeable twinge of cinnamon. You feel compelled to point out that there's nothing fruity about cinnamon. It's a spice derived from tree bark. Can a used wrapper shrug? Seems like that's what the wrapper is doing somehow. This is not about flowers or bark. What is this about? Why are you looking at this wrapper? Good question. There is no answer or secret phrase written on the inside of the wrapper. Yet you're drawn to it. Drawn by regret. Stop before you hurt yourself with a Tutti Frutti wrapper. Throw it away, please. You carefully fold the wrapper into a square before putting it back into your pocket, lovingly even, despite the strange feeling of regret. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry, you'll get him. Remember, tomorrow, he's probably gone for today.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
I am sorry. It just doesn't come out of your mouth. What does is surprisingly eloquent, really. The last one, not the first three. Those are ape speak.
Excuse me? I didn't hear you. Of course. You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Muindi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Epui descend to crack the top.
Fine. It's a 3-part form to be filled out on the scene by the detectives responsible. One takes note, the other dictates. The goal is to establish cause of death. A scalpel is not always required. I hope this is one of those cases. Latex gloves are, however. Unfortunately, no. They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes. In your paperwork, officer, just fill out the field autopsy form.
Now they only have one paperwork, too.
Officer, what haven't you lost? Losing your paperwork is not a small issue. I'm sorry if I came off as patronizing. I can give you my paperwork. There's an autopsy form there. Several, actually, but only if it helps move things along. Right. The autopsy form is near the end.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
That's you.
The corpse lies there, indifferent to your retrograde amnesia. The next box says,
KK57-0803.0815. Next, NA. Next. NA. Roughly 50.
Try 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Mwindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish. The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th, 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
None, at least not after the initial examination. They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dockwalkers.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then...
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
Oh, see, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing. The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with the age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short. Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max! Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the bell so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better hold. A really, really bad smell is coming from there now. And some kind of cracking sound. A really, really bad smell is coming from there now.
Yeah, fuck him! Fuck that faggot! Corpse fucking time!
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts, with his elbow to his knee for precision. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
Here. The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
Now, let's get up and see.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
The hand is surprisingly heavy to lift, filled with decay liquids. Feels as though it could explode if squeezed harder. You're suddenly repulsed, so much so you feel compelled to drop it.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury-related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again. It's hard. Once more, you taste stomach acid in the back of your throat. A contraction. Your throat pumps a little something from your stomach and into your mouth. You're forced to swallow, just to keep looking. Inside, you see darkness. just a mess of meat and darkness. Mute silence.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Hepato means liver, and biliary, the gallbladder and bile ducts.
Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits lividity in the lower extremities, feet, hands, and neck, visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list?
You find a moment as the lieutenant inspects the dead man's fingernails. Just a few glances. Still, you can make out a case with a curious title. The Man with the Hole in His Head. This appears to be a case investigated about 3 weeks ago. A workplace accident. The titular character's wife tries to get compensation. The company was not forthcoming. It's hard to make out if the hole was fatal. Maybe you're imagining it, but there are some remarks in there, and they're not all negative. You're referred to as the 41st by your... and the 41st comes off as a moderately competent detective. It's very hard to draw conclusions. All you can make out is that he is in a hurry to solve the case. The tempo of the handwriting says as much, and that there are a lot of notes in there. Most of them are made prior to arriving at the scene, in preparation. It's not spelled out explicitly, but the lieutenant fears a tear is forming between the liberal moralist establishment of Revachol and her populist citizenry. This populist force, a potpourri of far right and left, is exemplified in the Débardeurs Union. Their strike, if allowed to escalate into violence, adds to the growing sense of civil war in the city.
What? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll...
Be thorough if you want maximum results. The corpse lay slouched to the side. Coach physical instrument. Wait, how did you know all those hammer throw techniques? How do you know how to hold a discus? Or the world youth record in discus? Something doesn't add up here. This mushy thing between your ears didn't know the name of the city you're in, but it comes loaded with trivia about the correct chin position of a shot put ball. Could it be that... Shut up, namby-pamby. This train of thought ends abruptly. It's leg day. Straighten your rhombus muscle. It's shirts versus skins. Take your shirt off, Nambi. Your skins. This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags." Well, it is a container. Maybe you're prioritizing it.
We could try using a pry bar, the one you took from my motor carriage, or... Or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
He might also have information. This is better than the pry bar idea. This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, "Whirling in rags."
Can I help you? Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rag.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors too. They put their trash there and they don't pay for the garbage company.
I thought as much. And are you the only party with access to the trash container?
Well, yes. Us and the garbage disposal company.
It seems a little callous, doesn't it? Something stirs in you. Prod at him and find out.
Callous? What are you, Kras Mazov? Almost all establishments in Revachol keep their trash locked. The Whirling in Rags is not special in that regard.
No one was implying you were, officer. Where were we?
What do you need them for?
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please.
Hey. Psst. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin. Where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will fail to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Very well. I guess no one will build no objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a classless society. Everyone knows this. Let not failure ensnare you any further, beautiful pixie girl. Be an acrobat, a prancing fairy queen. Did someone mention cocaine? Are we doing cocaine? No. I'm sure I heard someone say cocainism. Anyone? Anyone else? There's no one? There's no one. Okay then, lie down and let the water carry you downstream.
Hello again, sweetie. Oh, sweetie, I heard your conversation with the manager about your financial troubles. When do you get your next paycheck?
Your deportment remains dignified as you shed a single manly tear.
Sweetie, I only have a few cents on me, but I could give you this to pawn. Just I tide you over.
Wonderful. He has a pin.
The pin is round and slightly tarnished. 3 sailboats in bas-relief with the sun hovering over the water behind them. A chipped green banner at the bottom reads, San Baptiste, Summer 31, Dinghy Races. You could totally sell this pin for cash.
Oh, it's not an ancient family heirloom or anything, but I suppose it would be nice to get it back.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, with a well-oiled crack, the lock pops open. It should now be possible to simply raise the lid. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk and egg rest with 1 broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Baptiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below. And turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. Among the threadbare kitchen towels, something catches your eye. A pair of denim trousers. As the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to unspool from the garbage, a rank corpse smell fills the air.
The victim's clothes? Cadaverine odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, they were removed when he was still in the early stages of decay. Drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty or emptied. He wore them with a belt, too, a white belt. The loops appear stretched, but the belt is missing. That's it. Do you see anything else in there? I have another bag here.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt, olive-colored, appears from the food waste, dripping with pus.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it in an urban scenario. Anything more?
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste. A yellow old mug that catches your eye. But other than that...
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force.
Kuno. He thinks you're an infant or something.
See? Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash, the lid was locked, and his establishment had the key. It's just a small loose thread.
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. It's just organic waste, cold and slimy on your hands. Apple and potato peels, mostly. Unidentified sludge, and the occasional chicken bone thrown in for good measure. But hey, what's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. It's shiny. Looks like the corner of something. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard with moist papers hanging from it. They look badly damaged, but you can still make out forms and notes, written in a man's handwriting.
Officer, is that your paperwork? It is. Look, the plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form in there. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Well, lucky we found it. You should take stock of what remains, just to be sure some has not made it into the hands of the RCM's adversaries. Organized crime and the like. There might have been police secrets in your notes. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the Interact tab to read your paperwork.
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man frolicking in saffron. Only in its social sensibility. The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. That's why they're too orderly. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a white rectangle on its back.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous... That machine is a Kvalsund 1020 HK.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here. The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it? Well, it...
The cloak looks like a bag of goodies floating in the wind. Who knows what it's...
I was under the impression we are on our way to meet the king of this castle under siege, Evrard. One of the people we're interviewing. This way, we may be able to get around his henchmen. Or it could be that we are just exploring.
Tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert, capable. Must be the adrenaline.
Hell yeah! My climbing might not have been as disco as your jump, but can we still get an aces high?
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in. This is the night watchman's booth. The name, listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry, we are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. Looks like the inhabitant is rather pedantic when it comes to order. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully at the camera.
Why did you take that picture of René? Fine, but let's move. I don't want to be seen snooping around here.
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostrils. Not a single mote of dust floats inside your lungs, though. The inside of the booth is immaculate. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. They are slightly out of date. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia, mini-strokes, prophet's disease, sudden death, hair death, erectile malfunction, critical flatulence, watery. Don't think about that. Quick, think about something else. The enormity of the case before you dwarfs the list of side effects. You can't even see the side effects anymore. You stand and exit the booth. rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Marche. On. Arrête. Off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And with the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. The rusty control panel grows warm to the touch, then grows cold. It is finished. A faint smell of burning rubber reaches your nostrils. A short circuit.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. It does not move at all. No screech of metal when you push the button this time, only... Before you stands a cargo container.
You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We're not here to interact with containers. We are here to interview the Union boss.
No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the container. You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. Why are you even trying to open a door with rhetoric?
Why are you what? Now is not the time to get philosophical, detective. You can do that after hours.